Please join me in welcoming the 82nd governor of our great state, Governor Nathan Deal.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gretchen. Very kind introduction. Thank you all for being here today. I just wanted to come by and say that I am very proud of what all of you are doing. To congratulate those of you who serve on the board, to thank those of you who are in positions of administration and leadership, those of you who are on the staffs, and those of you who are part of the faculty. All of you do a great job. It is one of the highlights of our state government to see what is happening within the confines of the technical college system of Georgia. And I just wanted to let you know how pleased I am. As you may know, one of the goals that we have had is to keep Georgia as the #1 state in the nation in which to do business. And the fact that we have achieved that goal for 3 years in a row, in large part, is due to the good work that you do. It is also due to the good work of the Quick Start program, which is under the auspices of TCSG. So we have a great team, and it's paying dividends. But you know, we looked at the broader picture of what does it take to be a state where business can grow and where business wants to come. We realized that there were some shortages that existed. We started out by asking the question of businesses, do you have jobs that you currently have available that you cannot find qualified Georgians to fill those jobs? And the answer came back yes. So we started on that premise, identifying those areas, and now, as of the completion of this legislative session, there are 12 areas where we have shortages, but if someone will go to one of your institutions and get a certificate or a diploma, we will pay 100% of the tuition cost in those 12 areas. And they're very diverse, and many of you I know are very familiar with all of those particular areas. And it's been a great success, and I have every reason to believe that as more and more parents, students, and counselors in our high schools become aware of the opportunities and the financial assistance that these programs will afford, that you'll see an even greater increase in the enrollment in those 12 areas. Now, we have been very fortunate over the last 6 years to see our unemployment rate in our state drop from about 10.4%, which is what it was when I came into office, to currently about 5.5%. That is a very dramatic reduction in our unemployment rates. For those of you who are interested in numbers, and Gretchen alluded to this just a minute ago, in the budget for fiscal year 17, which was just recently adopted, we have allocated over $350 million for the technical college system, and that includes about $8.85 million for a 3% salary increase that the agency's discretion will be used to decide and to say where that will be awarded with a job well done attached to it. So we think we have put it in great financial shape for the coming year. You, of course, deal with what many people consider to be non-traditional students, and certainly you have a great number of those in that definition category. You're seeing more and more, however, with dual enrollment of high school students who are choosing to take the route of attending one of your colleges, and that's a good thing. I think that is going to continue to grow. It has been a huge success, so much so that the first year we instituted it in any broad fashion, our budget allocations were only about half what the actual costs turned out to be. So we've made our adjustments to our projections. But there are many students that come to you that are not only non-traditional, but as was alluded to earlier, you have been a great helper with our efforts to reform criminal justice in this state. One of the things that we did when we looked at our prison population and asking the question, why is it that almost 1 out of every 3 adults who is paroled from our prison system comes back within 3 years or less? Why is it that almost 65% of all juveniles who are in our juvenile justice system come back within 3 years or less? And many of them, of course, age out and come back as adult offenders. And one of the most common answers came was because they're not equipped to be successful on the outside. And therefore, crime becomes one of those things that occurs because they have a sense of desperation, and that becomes their alternative route. So, with your help, we have made you an integral part of educating those within our prison system and educating those others who are perhaps headed that way for the lack of an education to be able to intervene. You have done a great job in all of those areas. Now, we're told that we need to focus on those skills where jobs exist, and I've already alluded to the 12 areas. But I want to thank your Executive Director of Academic Affairs, Joe Banker, who co-chairs the Employment and Education Committee of the Georgia Prisoner Reentry Initiative. He is a great member of that committee, and they are working on things such as improving and expanding the banning of the box, which will give even greater opportunities for employment for those who have skills, for agency alignment so that we can work cooperatively across agencies, and, of course, counselor alignment. Now, that's an important one because in the Department of Corrections, they have counselors. They are primarily responsible for trying to make sure that someone who is going to be paroled is going to be able to be successful once they are out in society again. And for them to work with the admissions departments of your colleges is critically important because we know that it works. We have seen a tremendous increase in the number of students who are taking advantage of this. I saw a statistic, and it's not in my numbers here today, but I'm going to recite it off my head. When I came into office, I was told there were only about 800 inmates in our state prison system who were involved in any form of educational improvement. That was 800 out of a prison population of 56,000. We knew by a survey that was done that almost 7 out of every 10 of them did not have a high school diploma or a GED. The most recent number that I have been given is that almost 25,000 are now involved in some form of educational program. And the TCSG, has been a vital partner in providing the ability to have that happen. Your instructors who've been willing to take on the process of educating those who are incarcerated is truly admirable. Let me give you a few of the numbers that I have been given. I understand that Central Georgia Technical College is one of the leaders in providing these services, and that in fact they have their own prison reentry initiative that currently has about 578 inmates enrolled in their credit programs, and that is indeed good. Now, I'm also told that we have had 86 inmates that have already graduated from the welding program at Walker State Prison, and that the next class of 49 students will graduate just a little over a week from now, that there are 23 students in the diesel mechanics program at Ware State Prison, and they're scheduled to graduate in June, that there are 22 students in the same program at Telfair Prison, and they will graduate in July, and 13 students at Rogers Prison that will graduate in December. Now, that will make a huge difference. When these individuals will have certifications that they possess skills in these critical job areas in our state, I have no doubt they're going to be able to find a job. In fact, we're having businesses and industries that have needs in these areas reach out to us. And the placement of these individuals that are returning citizens is going to be tremendous. Bluebird Bus Company down in Fort Valley has been one of our great partners. And if you are in that part of the state and you've seen the announcements recently, they're going to expand substantially. And that is good news for us. Because when I was there about a year or so ago and met with them, they said, you know, we will hire every welder that you send us. We don't care what their background was as to why they got in trouble. We are that desperate for good welders. And they introduced me to several of their employees who were former inmates who now had a good, well-paying job in their facilities. Those are the kind of stories that make me happy. And I hope they make you happy, that you've got a part in it. One of the things that we all have to be cognizant of is what is the workforce demand going to be in years ahead of us. We're told that we're going to have a substantial number, in fact 60% of our workforce is going to need some form of higher education beyond high school by the year 2020. And I know that one of the goals that you have at the technical college system is to have an additional 250,000 graduates by the year 2025. Those are important goals, and you apparently are well on your way to meeting them. I understand that in this last year alone, that the number of TCSG unduplicated graduates increased by 7.2%, and that total awards increased by 9.6%. So you're well on your way to being able to meet that goal of the 250,000 additional graduates. So I ask you to continue the good work. I know that you understand the importance of what you do. I wanted you to know today from me how much I appreciate what you do every day. Keep up the good work. You're making us proud. You're making Georgia a great place to live. You're making Georgia a great place to work. You're making Georgia a great place where people can raise their children and have confidence that if they attend one of your institutions, they will receive a diploma that will qualify them to get a good job. That is one of the most stabilizing influences that society can have, and that is what will keep Georgia great. Thank you.